Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you an action thriller film, The Bye-Bye Man. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins during a sunny afternoon in Madison, Wisconsin on October 20, 1969. A writer named Larry murders 8 of his friends and family who know the cursed name, Bye-Bye Man. While Larry kills them with a shotgun, he frantically and repeatedly says, "Don't say it, don't think it." It's a reminder not to say and think about the name. In the present day, 3 college students, Elliot, his girlfriend Sasha, and his jock friend John, rent a house from a landlord as their off-campus dormitory. The group accepts the house, since it's conveniently near their university. On the first day in the house, Sasha leads the ornamenting of the house for the housewarming party later tonight. During their decorating, Sasha hears strange noises from the second floor. Elliot assures her it's nothing but just the old radiator and loud sink. At night, they eventually take a rest after decorating the house, and Elliot goes to the bathroom to freshen up. While alone, Sasha sees a coin on the floor out of the blue, and then she hears the door slam shut. Sasha assumes it's Elliot messing with her, but Elliot comes out of the bathroom, looking concerned and confused Sasha. Shortly after, the housewarming begins in the house. Elliot and Sasha welcome Elliot's older brother and his family. During the party, the niece sneaks into Elliot's bedroom, where she finds a coin under the nightstand. She goes back to her parents eventually since they need to leave. While Elliot says goodbye to his brother, he notices Sasha bringing a woman upstairs. He asks her what's going on, and Sasha explains her friend is a psychic who's going to cleanse the house after the party. Elliot finds the whole ordeal irrational and nonsense. Just then, John cuts in and invites Elliot to play baseball with them outside. Elliot then goes up to their room to dress up warm when he suddenly hears a coin drop on the floor. He puts it back into the nightstand drawer, but it only falls on the ground again. Elliot coincidentally notices the writings in the drawer and finds the reminder, "Don't think it, don't say it," spiraling across the paper. He then removes the paper to reveal the cursed name, Bye-Bye Man. After the party, the 3 friends play outside with other students and then proceed with the house cleanse led by Sasha's psychic friend, Miss Psychic. After the cleansing, Elliot doubts anything related with spiritual or psychic things because they're not visible or tangible. So Miss Psychic proves she's a sensitive psychic through a seance. She correctly guesses that Elliot's parents died in a crash and the key Elliot hid in the pot in the kitchen. However, Elliot thinks Miss Psychic's still faking it until she says the words, "Don't think it, don't say it" on repeat, even when no one told her about it, since Elliot's the only one who's seen it. Elliot finishes her words and says, "Bye-bye man." Once the name is spoken out, the whole living room goes dark. John immediately opens the light and they see Miss Psychic phased, hugging herself on the floor. The seance shortly ends since Miss Psychic is unwell. They return to their rooms for the night rest. On the second floor, Elliot resembles a dark figure across the bedroom, but it disappears into a normal coat after he opens the light. Afterward, he leaves the bed to go downstairs because he hears strange noises too. However, it's just only John and Miss Psychic screwing around in the middle of the night. Elliot thinks it's over until a new noise of scratching overlaps the erotic sounds produced by Miss Psychic and John. He looks outside the window, where he completely misses Bye-Bye Man standing behind him. Sasha shortly joins him to check whatever is making the scratching noise. On the second day, John drives Miss Psychic home. She wants to try it again with John, but John gets startled by worms on her hair. He then calms himself and sees it's just a hallucination. John eventually goes home and finds Elliot bothered over big slashes on the brick wall outside. Elliot tells him he heard noises last night, and John assumes Elliot heard them screwing around, so he brushes him off and enters the house. Meanwhile, Sasha severely coughs in the kitchen. Elliot offers to make her tea to relieve her sickness. Suddenly, Sasha sees John standing in front of him, topless. She freezes in place until she realizes that Elliot worriedly stares at her. He tries to calm her down because Sasha went away for a minute, and now she's terrified and shivering. At night, Elliot experiences another phenomenon. He searches across the house for the scratching noise again, but he finds nothing until he reaches the basement. He sees another set of scratches on the wall, a second coin on the ground, and a large hound sneakily passes by. Elliot quickly runs back upstairs upon seeing the hound, but the door slams shut in front of him. He screams for help, and John and Sasha hurriedly open the basement door for him. Elliot confronts John and Sasha about what they were doing, and they answer that they were simply chatting and studying. However, because of the hallucinations, Elliot suspects his girlfriend and friend are having an affair behind his back. However, they assure him that they won't do that to him. Elliot then brings Sasha to their bedroom since her health is declining fast. Sasha explains to Elliot that he simply went away too like she did when she was studying earlier. Sasha shows her notebook filled with drawings of Bye-Bye Man. Sasha wants to forget and escape from him, but he fights back and strongly imposes his existence on her mind further. Elliot reminds Sasha that Bye Bye Man is just an idea and not real, but Sasha replies that ideas are real too. Sasha thinks that if Bye Bye Man isn't real, then everyone in the house is simply crazy. Soon, Elliot and Sasha sleep to rest. While asleep, Elliot dreams about a train that's about to run over 3 people standing in the middle of the track. Elliot shortly jolts back to reality, still dazed by the dream. From the dark, he sees 2 glowing animal eyes, and the black coat across the room turns into Bye Bye Man. Elliot staggers backward as he opens the light to see no one in the room besides Sasha. On the 3rd day, Sasha and Elliot agreed to get to the bottom of the whole deal with the cursed name. Elliot travels to the local library to research the name online, but no related articles appear until he types the sentence, "Don't think it, don't say it." In the results interface, only one article written by Larry appears. The librarian gives Elliot the compiled dossiers he researched online. The articles are never published, but the library still saves them for future reference. Meanwhile, Sasha meets their landlord to talk about the nightstand with writings inside the drawer. The landlord then gives Sasha the home address of where the nightstand originally belonged to. Back at the library, Elliot and the librarian discuss Larry and his unpublished article. Elliot then reads an excerpt from the article dated October 18, 1969, and based in Deerfield, Iowa. A teenager murdered his family and 4 other people because Bye Bye Man made him do it. 2 days later, Larry returned to Madison and murdered his friends and family because they knew the cursed name. A quick flashback appears to show Larry saw Bye Bye Man during his last moments on Earth, before the poison he drank completely killed him. The librarian knows the article is the only paper that mentions Bye Bye Man. It's mainly to prevent other people from knowing his dangerous and cursed existence. The librarian then leaves Elliot alone, and Elliot tries to focus on his research, but he keeps thinking of Bye Bye Man. He tries to erase the name on the papers, but things go south when Bye Bye Man appears suddenly. Every time he erases the name, Bye Bye Man comes closer and closer to him. Suddenly, the librarian appears to stop Elliot from ruining an original material. Elliot realizes he redacted all of the name in the paper. During his encounter with Bye Bye Man, his phone becomes battery drained, and the time jumps to an hour later. He also realizes that he's late to pick up Sasha at their agreed meetup time. Upon arriving, he catches Sasha and John going home together without him. Elliot shortly visits Miss Psychic to invite her back to the house to formulate a plan against Bye Bye Man. He also apologizes for doubting her words during their first meeting. Miss Psychic agrees to come with him, but she cleans her bloody hands first because she's hammered her roommate to death. Elliot and Miss Psychic travel back to the house. En route, they list the signs of Bye Bye Man's arrival, such as sudden appearances of coins, train sounds, hallucinations, and quick glimpses of his hound. Since they mentioned the name and experience all of these signs, it only means Bye Bye Man already ensnared them in his hands. Miss Psychic then admits she told her roommate the name, and therefore she killed her because they need to end anyone who knows the name. Suddenly, she asks Elliot to stop the car because she sees a family trapped inside a flipped-over car near the train tracks. Miss Psychic leaves the car to save them, and then Elliot sees her bloody hammer in her bag. Elliot stupidly exits from the car with the bloody hammer and chases after her while convincing her it's all in her head. However, Miss Psychic is dedicated to saving the family until a train approaches fast enough to run over her. That night, police officers arrive at the train tracks to investigate the incident. A detective leads the investigation, where he brings Elliot to the precinct for interrogation. According to the train conductor, he found Elliot chasing after Miss Psychic with a bloody hammer, which convinces detective to mark Elliot as a prime suspect. Fortunately, when detective and Elliot arrive at the precinct, she then lets go of his suspicions over Elliot because her colleagues found Miss Psychic's suicide note, saying that she takes responsibility over the death of her roommate, Elliot, Sasha, and John. This means that Miss Psychic intends to kill them too. Detective feels the need to help Elliot. However, Elliot is stuck and can't ask for help from anyone because the name is a curse. So he tries to convince Detective that not every truth is meant to be shared, especially if it risks and endangers a lot of lives. Just then, the brother arrives at the precinct to take Elliot home. He wants to understand Elliot's problem, but Elliot tells him to stay away because he can't do anything to help them. Elliot then goes home and finds John and Sasha doing an explicit activity on the bed. Enraged, Elliot beats John on the head to stop them, but he quickly stops himself, realizing nothing is going on between the two because it's just a hallucination in his head. Elliot then unexpectedly receives a call from the librarian, telling him that she saw vivid thoughts about Bye Bye Man, and so she plans to meet him to discuss the growing problem. While Elliot talks to the librarian, he finds the landlord's paper containing the home address of Larry's wife. Elliot then perceives that the nightstand in their bedroom belongs to Larry. He ends the call with the librarian and promises to meet her after dealing with Larry's wife. Meanwhile, inside the librarian's house, she murdered her entire family before leaving the house to meet Elliot. Elliot arrives at the wife's house to learn of the incident years ago. She explains that after Larry heard the name during the interview with the teenage killer, he acted more strange than ever as he filled their house with continuous reminders not to think and say the name. Elliot then asks why she is still alive after the whole fiasco with her husband. She answers it's because Larry controlled himself from saying the name to save her. He next asks how to end the curse, and Larry's wife answers the only way to end it is to kill all who know the name. She then gives him a revolver to show that it's the only practical solution. However, Elliot can't accept that death is the only way to end the curse. He ponders deeply until he finally understands the basics. Someone is stronger and powerful when they are feared by others, and therefore, Bye-Bye Man is stronger against them because they fear him. But if they're no longer afraid of him, he has no more power to control them. In simple terms, they just need to tell themselves that every terrifying hallucination they see is just fake. Elliot then tests it out when Bye-Bye Man tricks him into killing Larry's wife, who's suddenly engulfed in fire. Elliot convinces himself it's not real, and then he opens his eyes to see Larry's wife safe and sound in front of him. Elliot then drives back home to tell John and Sasha the solution. However, he runs over the librarian, who's standing in the middle of the road. He thinks it's just another hallucination. Suddenly, the car flips over and runs over the librarian. He then goes out of the car to see the librarian is dead and real. There's nothing to do to save her anymore, so he limps on his way home. Meanwhile, Sasha and John undergo another hallucination from Bye-Bye Man. Sasha perceives John as Elliot, whereas John perceives Sasha as the dead Miss Psychic. Elliot arrives on time, where he witnesses John stabbing Sasha. Elliot intervenes in their fight and holds John away from wounded Sasha. Elliot brings out the revolver and shoots John in the stomach. Elliot thinks he finally overcame Bye-Bye Man's trickeries, but he fails and falls into his trap again as he realizes that he didn't kill John, but his girlfriend Sasha, and the person wounded on the floor is John. This is the work of Bye-Bye Man, where he tricks people into killing each other until they go insane. The movie ends with Bye-Bye Man daunting over Elliot. Outside the house, the brother and his daughter come to check up on them. However, Elliot stops them from entering to save them. Elliot then witnesses Sasha's corpse fall out of the stairs, and Bye-Bye Man walks toward him. Elliot tells his brother he loves him as his last words, and then proceeds to shoot himself. The man and his daughter leave and drive away from the house just in time, before the house erupts in flames. On their way home, the daughter shares that she found coins and writings on the nightstand outside the house. However, she admits she doesn't know what's written because it's too dark for her to read. Meanwhile, Detective and the authorities arrive at the burning house. They manage to save wounded John on the second floor. Detective asks him what happens, and John weakly answers, "Bye-Bye Man." The moment he said "Bye-Bye Man," he put Elliot and Larry's effort of erasing the name's existence totally in vain. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.